Hello, everyone. Namaste. Good morning, or good evening, good afternoon, depending on where um, we are in the world. My name is Krishna Keshava Das, and I'm very excited to be meeting here with you all today for Science and Scientist 2025. So, we will get started by first acknowledging um, our serving director at the Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute, Dr. B. Madhavapuri, who was recently withdrawn from the world. He is the one who inspired this Science and Scientist conference series back in 2013. Since then, the conference has taken place in person throughout India and Nepal, and also in the United States. In 2019 was the last in-person conference we had at Rutgers University here in New Jersey. And ever since COVID happened, we moved to an online format. Perhaps in the future we'll try to have another in-person conference and do more of a hybrid format. But we just wanted to dedicate this conference to him today. First by just offering a short prayer and then showing a video of Dr. Puri from the very first 2013 conference, explaining his intentions for the conference. So the prayer that we offered to our gurus is Om Gyana Timirin Hasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Madhava Puri Krishna Prema Pura Bhakti Kalpa Tarur Tenho Pratama Ankura Sikshacharya Madhva Puri Sri Vidya Vilase Koti Mahagyani Jana Jine Parihase Adhyapaka Gana Ara Paruyara Gana Parajite Haye Sabe Kare Haribola. So we will now proceed with sharing a video from Dr. Puri.
Namaste. It is my honor to welcome you to this scientific conference on a topic of fundamental concern to all scientists and non-scientists alike. It is inspired by our own teachers, who were broad-minded enough to bridge the domains of science and religion, to show the harmony that exists when proper rationality prevails in both spheres. We are all thankful to the organizers who made this important conference possible, and we appreciate all of you for your sincere interest in attending to hear what we have to say, without which this conference cannot be a success. Science is the body of man's knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world, derived by following a systematic methodology based on observation. It exists as a body of knowledge, but not as a mechanical body that can be analyzed in terms of physics and chemistry. Rather, physics and chemistry are subsets of scientific knowledge that are products of science. In turn, science is the product of the rational activity of scientists. It is the peculiar perversion of the modern materialistic conception of science to think that they can invert this natural causal sequence. But the enthusiasm to explain biological life in terms of physics and chemistry has led mechanistic science to a threshold beyond which it has not been able to cross. The phenomenon of life has proven itself to be inaccessible to mere physical and chemical scientific explanation, despite the most arduous efforts to produce life in the lab by thousands of scientists all over the world. At some point, they will have to realize that despite all their science, all the scientists in the world working together will be unable to produce even a single blade of grass, something that nature does so easily. This fact must lead us to honestly ask, is our current science really capable of understanding nature? 21st century biology has revealed a level of detail and complexity found even in the most simple biological organisms that was unavailable and unimaginable to scientists just a few decades ago. They are now faced with evidence that suggests that all living organisms appear to exhibit an essentially sentient nature of self-regulation, self-manipulation, and self-control, even in the most minute activities within the cell. This recognition has given rise to the relatively recent scientific field of cognitive biology. And this may come as an unexpected surprise to mechanistic science. But mankind has always understood that the difference between life and non-life is sentience. It is one of the chief shortcomings of mechanistic science that has attempted to explain everything in the universe except sentient phenomena, such as life, mind, and intelligence. Yet even the most ancient science of Sankhya did not avoid incorporating such obvious features of nature as manas, buddhi, ahankar within its system. The natural progress of science has led to the need to broaden its scope to include these phenomena that all rational people know are part of their reality. The work of our institutes is to encourage the type of research, scientific research, that does not ignore these features, following the evidence wherever it may lead and developing the proper conceptual framework for a science that will benefit mankind. Life comes from life is a scientific conclusion based on observation. Matter or biomass is also a product of life only. Neither of these principles can be explained or produced on the basis of mere matter. We all observe that life develops from a single cell in a matter of weeks or months. It does not take billions of years of evolution to accomplish. Furthermore, who can ever live long enough to verify such a claim? So we have to establish science on the basis of evidence, or it merely will become another type of metaphysical dogmatism. Awareness of the environment has given rise to the science of ecology and the recognition that nature is an irreducible whole, in the same way that life is. This is known as the Gaia principle. We can also call it the Bhumi principle. Life forms a systematic network with all of the life and nature itself. Genetic material is exchanged between living organisms as much as within them in the form of horizontal gene transfer, viruses, bacteria, and so on. Creative organic holism is a valid and verifiable alternative to evolutionism, and an alternative which we support as an observable and more rational principle for guiding proper scientific understanding of our world. Authentic science must be founded on these real principles of nature that are confirmed by repeatable evidence and not based merely on prevailing ideological dogmas. It is our hope that this conference, and many more like it, will help to bring about the inevitable progress toward developing a true scientific understanding of nature that is worthy of the concept of life. Finally, we hope that you will find this an enjoyable and informative conference, and we hope that all of you will decide to join us in this worthwhile endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Arnold, for your message in the chat. So, now moving on, I invite the Master of Ceremonies, Yader Henry, to introduce a couple of words about the conference and then introducing our first speaker. Yader is an undergraduate student at Stockton University and the president of the Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute's club at that university called the Science of Life Club. Good morning, Yader.
Morning. All right, so one sec.
Yader will be drawing from the conference program, which I'll put a link to in the chat for anyone who'd like to follow along.
All right, the Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute believes that by exploring Hegel's philosophy, significant advancements can be made in developing and applying the relevance of self-other and mind-matter dialectics to this positive progression of 21st century biology and ecology, as well as developing the utility of considering nature's universal, particular, and individual aspects through conceptual thinking. Studying dialectics in the way described here also provides an opportunity to dive deeper into the Vedantic conception of beta abeta, simultaneous difference and non-difference, which is related to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Beba Abeda and its relevance for conceiving spirit. Krishna, if I butchered any of that, I'm sorry, you can correct me. But the truly dialectical scientist soberly examines the metaphysical preferences underlying empiricist and physicalist approaches and honestly addresses the influence that the pre-existing contents of consciousness hold over all acts of empirical observation. Such an approach overcomes the theory-latedness that has prevented science from providing deeply satisfying integrative descriptions of matter, life, consciousness, and self. Through our publications and the Science and Scientist Conference series, the Princeton BVISCS strives to foster cultural and scientific progress beyond materialistic values and medical/technological advancement. Humans live longer and have fancier gadgets, yet suffer worldwide from an environmental and mental health crisis. We don't know how to harmonize with our surroundings, and our minds have grown uneasy. The serving scholars of the BVISCS hope that Scientist 2025 can be a step in the right direction.